So let's go in. Right, let's push all this in here. Let's go back down. And I'm just gonna sit here for probably somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes, I would say. And just make sure that everything is the same exact length. All right, go in every single direction. All right, you can see the difference right here. Right, from light right here to dark right here. Plus, you can kind of get an idea of what a 1.5 guard might look when you've got dark, thick hair. So I've got pretty dark, thick hair. It's pretty coarse. So if you've got dark, thick, and coarse hair, kind of wavy in a way, this is exactly how it'll look on you. Not exactly, but you know, pretty close. And then I'll switch to my left hand to do this side. Okay. Now I'll brush my scalp off with my hand, wipe everything off, and then I can go again. All right. Just go straight back again. You can hear the little clicks from the clippers cutting. All right, let's move over to the back. Let's see how much. Yeah, so it didn't really cut much until like about right here. Okay, let's go left side. One sec. Okay. Let me just brush off the hair, clean my tool real quick, and then we're back at it. And I'll switch to my left hand sometimes. Typically only when I'm doing buzz cuts, because I don't really need to have much control as long as I'm hitting the area, right? My left hand, I'm not a lefty, so it's okay if I use my left hand to do the left side, so I don't hyperextend myself, because I don't need to be super focused on the left side, right? I could be a little bit more careless, I would say, because it doesn't need to be a perfect line. I'm not creating any lines, I'm just cutting off bulk. All right, let's start going this way. Let's go back. Hear how much it's cutting right now? It's cutting a lot of hair right now. This is why you have to go horizontally and vertically. Alright, and I'm also going to do it going the other way as well. Nice and slow. The top is really important, that everything is even. You don't want to have a few hairs sticking up. Right? Shake your head if you need to loosen it up, just in case there's any long ones sticking to your scalp. They reveal themselves. Let's clean the vanity real quick. Let's brush off. Okay. Yeah, I can see a whole bunch of hairs that are just uneven toward the back, this area. So let's see if we can hit them going this way. The only real thing that's difficult about this haircut is the fact that it's a little bit tedious, because you really want to make sure that you're getting all the hair, right? You don't want to have any spots of your hair that are longer than others. You really want to make sure when you have a buzz cut that everything is even. Otherwise it's going to look a little goofy, right? It'll look silly. So it's, you know, being cognizant and paying close attention to your work. Right, let me just go around my head one more time. I think it's okay for now. I mean, yeah, let's do this. Let's start here. Let's just go around. Okay. And typically the back of your head is always going to be more dense, which means there's a lot more hair per inch than on the sides, and sometimes even the top. So you might have to go through the back quite a bit as well. Okay, let's keep it going. Let me clean off my clippers. Just making sure that the bottom is good, even though I know it's shorter than the length on top. Okay, I think we're good. All right. Just go a few more times. Let's go this way. There we go, I heard it. There it is, yep. Okay, and then this way. Okay, we'll leave it like that for now. Should be okay. If anything, I can go through it again later off camera just to make sure that it's all the same. Otherwise, you could be here for a little bit longer, making sure it's all the same length. So let's go in, let's clean myself off. And so that was basically the first step. So we're halfway done the work, the self haircut now. We're halfway done, right? Everything should be relatively, you know, within 90-95% the same length. All right. Should be good. Always making sure I'm cleaning my hands with the brush, right? I got my brush in my hands here, always wiping my arms off, wiping my shirt off so that no hair gets inside my shirt, so that it becomes an irritant while I'm cutting my hair. Right? The last thing you want is to become annoyed or irritated while cutting your own hair, because it requires energy to feel irritation. So you need to make sure you're storing that energy for what's actually going to help you get the result you want, right? So put in this extra energy to brush off your shirt so that it doesn't come inside your shirt and start rubbing against your skin and irritating you, which will take the focus away from your haircut and start focusing on, this feels weird. I don't like this. I gotta go take a shower, take off my shirt and clean myself. Like, everything I do is for a reason, okay? Everything I do is for a reason. I don't just do it because I want to waste time. I do it because I've made the mistake of not cleaning myself off before many times, and I got very irritated during self haircuts, and because of the hair was just getting stuck, it was getting inside my collar, and then it was getting very irritating on my skin, and I didn't like it, and it always threw me off. My focus was all thrown off because of it. So that's why I tell you guys to make sure you're always cleaning throughout the haircut. Clean your arms, clean your hands, clean your clothes, clean the vanity. Always organize and keep yourself in the right state of mind, right? Limit the amount of things that'll take away your energy. It's very important that you do that. Let me get some water. Okay, so now what I can do is start the lineup process. So I'm gonna go ahead, use my fade brush and start to comb everything down. I'm gonna close my eyes because I know there's some dead skin that's coming off. I don't want to blind myself. Let's do that. All right. And I can give myself, so you can either, here's the thing, when it comes to your forehead, your lineup, you can either use a trimmer, or if you're a little bit skeptical because this is your first time, you can use a scissor, right? This is a much more safer option, using a scissor, because you only cut when you clamp your hands together, when you clamp your fingers together, right? So nothing cuts unless you move your fingers, whereas this thing cuts when you move your arm, and it's a lot less, there's a lot less precision in your movement with your arm and your shoulder than there is in these guys right here, right? You got 5 of them. Make them work for you. So, matter of fact, I'm not even going to use the trimmer because I'm sure most of you guys, if you know how to use a trimmer, you know how to use it. For the hairline, I'll use scissors. So I'm just going to go in. I'm going to start in the middle of my head, work my way to the side, go back to the middle, work my way over to the side. All right? And then I'm going to double check my work. So just follow the natural hairline, and anything that flows over the hairline, that's what I'm cutting. Anything that flows over the hairline. All right, let's comb this down with the brush. All right, so now I can go this way. Let me just make sure I did an okay job. Using my mirror right here. There's a few hairs here. All right, just get away. Just start cutting all the excess hairs. All right, let's clean up the hairline right in here, if you can see that. Some excess hairs growing right here. Let's brush it out. All right, let's do the other side. All right, how's that look? Okay, let's do this right here. Now let's just look at this side and look at this side. Make sure that they're roughly the same. All right, looks pretty good. So now I can put my scissors aside, rotate my mirror back here, and now I can do the vertical bars. So remember, when it comes to lining yourself up, the goal is not to push your line back. The goal is to identify where the line is, and all the excess hairs over here is all you're cutting, right? So identify where the line is, and then stop when you hit the line, right? Stop when you get there, right? It's just a very simple way to, like, less is always more, I always say. Okay, less is always more. Okay, there's that side. Right, how's that? A little bit right here. And then a little bit right there. Perfect. All right, let's brush that out. Cool. And so that is really the scariest part. That's the scariest part because that's the part that everybody gets to see. Right now it's the C cup, which is pretty easy. So now I can go in and I can just find the line and push right where the line is. Right? You can even stamp at it right like this. All right. You can go this way as well to do this side. Okay, let's do this side. Nice and slow. You're just straightening the line. That's it. You're not pushing anything back. You're just straightening it. Right? Everything is literally the same exact. It looks exactly the same as it did before, only a lot more tidy. That's all we're looking for. Our goal with the lineup is making it look more tidy. That's it. All right, so we did the front part. Now I can go around my ears and start to work my way toward the back. So let's brush this down a little bit behind my ear. Okay, let's go this way. All right. Just follow the natural line. Let's go over this way. Okay. Cool. Cool. Now I can start to go down a little bit. So let's brush this out just so I can start the very beginning of this line. I'm going to use my corners to follow the line. Okay, so here's the beginning of that. Let's jump over to the left side. All right, this is all brushed down. Just using the corners, guide it, and cut all the hairs that are just overhanging. So then I can pull my ear out, cut the overhanging hair right there. Okay. Let's brush that down. Okay, let's start to do the back here. Let's wipe off my trimmer. Move the ear out the way. Let's follow the natural line. Okay. So now, let's go back, let's finish the right side. So you press down and then pull away. And then you can go back and do it again. Notice how I'm holding the trimmer with my thumb really close to the blades for extra precision and accuracy. Okay, let's flip it upside down. Let's go against the grain. Okay. And so now I can jump over to probably the most challenging part of the lineup, which is doing the back of your head. And doing the back of your head is really no different than doing your forehead. You start in the middle and then work your way over, right? And the reason why you start in the middle is because if you start on the corner and you accidentally go in a little bit too far, then you know you've made a big mistake. So start where it really matters the most, in the middle, and then work your way over, right? If you know to cut like a tiny bit in the middle, you know to just guide it and keep the line straight. So it's the same exact principle doing your forehead lineup as the back. So start in the very, very center of your head and then work your way over to one side, and then you start in the center of your head again, work your way over to the other side. Right, and this I might need to use a different mirror, right, just to check my work to make sure that it's good. Otherwise I can pull this out and let's do this. All right, we should be fine like that. So it's pencil the trimmer, hold it like a pencil. Let's find the center right in here. Just take off a tiny bit because we're just straightening the line. And then I like to do a little curve in the corner. Okay. All right, let's brush that out. Okay, wipe off the trimmers. And then we can jump over. So now we know exactly where to start in the middle. You can see it perfectly. All right, and then we just start from the middle and work our way over. Okay, so let's follow it. Let's go ahead and push this down. Go against the grain. Against the grain. Okay. So now I'm gonna go, let's grab my mirror and let's just double check to see if we did a good job, if the line is straight. So let's comb this all down with the brush. Brush this all down. Now let's take this up and let's see. Not the worst. Okay, that's not that bad. I can still fix this line a little bit. And this line needs to come in a tiny bit more. And the back, how's the bottom? Bottom's not too bad. I can fix the corner there. Okay. So let's do this here. Let's bring this in. Tiny bit. All right, now this side. Okay. Let's just check it again one more time, and I think we should be done with the haircut. All right, have a look. The right side looks a tiny bit better. I mean, I could probably push the center a little bit more. Let's try that. Let's do the center a tiny bit more. I think that's it right there. Okay. No, I think we're done. Right, the back is, like I said, like the back is the trickiest part because you have to make sure it looks good, nice and straight. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks good. Uh-huh. And the hair looks relatively even. Yeah, okay. So now, that's pretty much the haircut. Those are the two simple, well, I don't want to say simple, but they are relatively simple when you compare them to an actual like fade. So two steps. Buzzing everything to one length and then using the trimmers and your scissors to give yourself a nice lineup. All right. So now that's pretty much it for the beginner buzz cut. If you guys want to watch me do my beard, right? I need to do my cheeks, my eyebrows, my mustache, my neck. So you guys can, and I need to shape my beard a tiny bit. If you guys want to see that, just stay tuned because I'm going to get right into it. And then I also want to mention, just as like a side note, I always like to give myself, well, whenever I do buzz cuts, because I know it's taking away from the length on top, I always like to rock a beard to match along with the buzz cut, because remember, when it comes to attractiveness and looking appealing, looking attractive, when it comes to human beings, how it works is when we have a face that looks elongated, we appear more attractive to, you know, males or females, whichever you're attracting, right? So the more elongated your face is, the more elongated your head looks, the more attractive you tend to be to other people. So that's why I don't, you know, keep my beard really short, because now my head looks small, right? So I elongate my head by having a nice beard, and it looks more attractive. So same thing with when I have longer hair on top in the other self-haircut tutorials. I have longer hair on top and short beard, right? A very like stubble or like a much shorter beard, because I have the long hair on top that helps me elongate my head. So that's just something I wanted to add as like a side note, but it definitely is important if you're going to give yourself a buzz cut to keep in mind. If you do grow a beard, it might be a good idea to grow your beard when you do a buzz cut. And if you don't have a beard, I don't know, maybe you look fine with it or without having a beard, right? It doesn't really matter too much, but again, it's just like the small things, I guess, that make the impact. So, I mean, I've got plenty of videos where I don't have the long beard like this with a buzz cut, and I still looked fine, right? So don't get insecure. Don't be like, oh, Alex says, you know, I need to have a beard to have a buzz cut. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying if you can grow a beard, you might look better with it, right? You guys might not even think I look good with my beard. I don't know. Maybe you think I'd look better without my beard with a buzz cut. That's perfectly fine. I guess it's up to viewer discretion. So let's go ahead. Let's start. I'll start with the beard, and then I'll work my way up. So what I'm gonna do is start with my neck. So I'm gonna push all my hair up with my brush. You know what, I'm kind of thirsty. Let me get some water. Much better. All right. I'm gonna push all this up so I can see where the line is underneath my neck. Okay. Yeah, that looks nice, right? All right, so now the line is right here. You want to make sure you're really just following the line. Try not to push the line, because then you like destroy the shape of the beard. So try to, again, less is more, especially with the beard, because if you destroy the shape of the beard, you're not going to be so happy with how it looks when you're done. So less is more. Alright, let's clean up all this. Always make sure you're going against the grain, because my hair grows in this direction, goes in this direction, goes in that direction, goes in this direction. You have to constantly change the position of the cutting blade. Yeah, and I really do enjoy these trimmers. I really don't know how Glaker's making any profit on these things. It's either Glaker's making like the type of profit that I thought Kemi was making, or Kemi's just making a real good profit. right? Because if they're made with the same materials and they're basically the same exact product, they look exactly the same. Chemi must be making a lot of money. They must have a really big margin. If Glaker is making the same exact thing for half the price. All right, ready? Just follow the line. Okay. Nice. Okay. Let's jump over to the right side. Follow the line. All right. Okay. So that should be good. Now I can brush everything back down and you'll see that the line gets covered almost. If I brush this all down now, the line basically gets covered. Let's brush this all out. Okay, ready? So I brushed everything down and now you can see there's a lot of overhang, especially right in here. And then a little bit over here. So all this little overhang is what I have to trim off with the trimmer. So this is how you shape the beard. I might even go straight down a little bit as well. And then go ahead and clean that up. So be very careful because you're freehanding and one sudden move and there goes your whole beard. So be very, very careful. Make sure you take it very slow. And you have a good grip. Okay. Let me re-straighten this. Nice. Okay, let's do the bottom. All right, let's straighten this. All right. So now, let's just shape it with our hands. Well, let me shape it with my hands, not our hands. All right, let's see what we got. Shape this down with our hands. Push it, flatten it on the bottom. I think right here I can touch up a tiny bit. Okay. Cool. And that is it. That's how you clean up the beard. All right. Now I can go in and let's use my scissors to clean up my cheek hairs because I want to be really precise. And again, because I have a nice big beard that took me a long time to grow, I'd like to take the safer route and just use my scissors to clean my cheek hairs instead of having my trimmers and going down like this. All right, yeah, it looks good. All right, this line's a little crooked. Let me straighten this line up. good. Let me go ahead, let me show you guys the final result. Give you a nice after 360. All right, fix the beard a little bit. Okay. Let me get a little bit of water real quick. All right, this is the front view. Let's bring this a little bit closer here. Okay, this is the front view. Let's jump over the left side. All right, we have the back. I'll get a little bit closer. Okay, here's the right side. And the forehead, line up. All right. Beard, the mustache, all right. All right, so that is today's beginner buzz cut. All right. Again, it's a very, very straightforward, to the point haircut. Right? It's just 2 steps. Buzz everything, your entire head, to one length, and then go in and grab your trimmers. Go in and grab your little scissors and clean up your lineup, right? And that's it. If you're a beginner self-hair cutter and you are scared to get started, this is the type of haircut that I'd recommend you try to do. Okay, remember, you can always use a longer guard on top if you don't want to make it so short. All right, a 1.5 guard is a really short guard. So if you want to start out with a number 6 guard, number 7 guard, heck, number 8 guard, by all means, start with the longest guard that comes with your clipper kit. See how that goes, right? And then, yeah, you'll have to do everything all around, so the sides and the top will all be the same length. See how that looks on you. If that looks okay, keep it. If it's still a little bit too long, drop the guard, right? Go from a number 8 to a number 6, or a number 5 or 4, or 3, or 2, or 1, whatever, right? You guys don't understand what I'm saying. So, very simple, buzz cut. This is a really great way for you to get familiar with having a clipper in your hand. If this is the first time you've ever cut your hair, it's a great way to get familiar with having a running clipper on in your hand, right? It's a great way to actually cut hair for the first time using the clipper, right? If you've never cut hair before with the clipper, this is the safest, easiest way for you to learn what happens when you use this on this, right? The safest, easiest way to learn how to cut your own hair and give yourself such a beginner, easy self haircut, right? It still looks really good, don't get me wrong. I see so many people rocking buzz cuts with just lineups. Like, this is a pretty popular haircut, believe it or not. It's so simple, but so many people rock it. So it's a very good way to start. If you're a beginner and you only have 1 or 2 haircuts under your belt, or you've never cut your own hair before, it's a fantastic way to get started. All right, this 2-step buzz cut self haircut, beginner self haircut, is an amazing way to get your foot in the door and start to get familiar with your hair cutting tools, right? The clipper, the trimmer, the scissors, and actually use your own muscles, right? Use your fingers, use your hand, use your arms, your elbows, your shoulders, right? Use your body to actually cut the hair, because I know it's intimidating. I know it can be scary. I know it gives you anxiety. I know it does. But that's why this haircut is so easy. That's why this haircut eliminates all of the difficulties that you'd ever imagine with self haircutting, right? And even if you're too afraid to do the back with the lineup, just have somebody else do it for now. And then when you feel more comfortable lining up everything yourself, then you can do the back by yourself as well, because this is a skill on its own. All right, so that's it for today's beginner buzz cut self haircut. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in a future self haircut tutorial. Take care.